you want to, sure.
Let's talk simultaneously.
Hi.
Hello.
But wait. You want to introduce? You can you can make the audience familiar with your voices by
Hello?
introducing
My
names.
name's sorry. My name is Lexi. I'm a junior at Parker here.
Hello, my name is Katie Lee. I'm also a junior here at Parker, and I've been going here since I was a lifer. Welcome to this awesome podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. Do you guys have any topics that you want to talk about, or get asked about?
I'm open to anything, I would say. I'm
Okay.
very, very open.
Yeah, I know something I wanted to talk about because I feel like it's a really big issue for a lot of girls is dealing with drama and just friendships in high school.
Yeah.
I know that Lexi and I have had problems with that in the past, so
Okay.
if that's something that we could talk about,
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun.
For sure.
Middle school.
Yeah, middle school was
Girls.
rough.
Middle school.
Friendships and stuff like that, I think is a problem for a lot of girls. So,
I agree.
Mhm.
yeah, definitely gets better in high school, but middle school for sure.
Yeah. I'm actually curious about that too. So why don't we start there? With drama, well, I guess why do you think it got better in high school, or why has it improved since middle school?
For me at least, so kind of my story was I went to this one middle school called Marshall Middle for 6th and 7th grade, but my 7th grade was completely online, and my 6th grade was partially online due to COVID. But then I went to a performing arts school my 8th grade year, and I just had a terrible time at my first two middle schools because I was switching. I didn't have a good group of friends. And then in 8th grade, I feel a lot of girls deal with this, but I was just very insecure with myself, the way I looked, the way I felt, my confidence was really low. So I think honestly just not feeling the best about yourself and feeling insecure kind of leads to difficulties sometimes with friendships because you don't feel secure in yourself, so how are you going to feel secure in a friendship? I just kind of think the same thing goes with relationships. I feel you have to be in a good spot with yourself before you can kind of open yourself up to caring and being in friendships with others. So for me, I think my friendships weren't the strongest in my middle school years just because I was struggling myself. But in high school, things got better for me, and I felt I was putting myself first, which allowed me to make good friendships.
I think from what I've seen and experienced, middle school girls especially are very insecure, and they just feel pretty bad about if it's appearance or personality wise. It's something that I've gone through as well as Lexi just mentioned, and I think that leads to self-projection a lot of times, and it can be something that you don't even notice, but just I don't know, treating other people in not a great way because you yourself don't feel great. I've seen it happen to other girls, and I've also had it happen to me, and I just feel people don't really, or girls especially, don't really know who they are in middle school, and that just leads to friendship problems. But I think it gets better in high school because you start to get your priorities straight and kind of what your values are in life, and you start to find your place more in society. So in feeling better about yourself, you start to treat others better.
Does that happen as a natural process where you feel you just gradually understood yourself more and then felt you were able to be more authentic? Or because I kind of noticed that too, people in high school are much more comfortable in their skin, in their own skin than middle school. But for me, I feel I'm pretty insecure right now, and it's kind of been like that since elementary school or middle school kind of got exacerbated. And I'm just wondering what the steps you guys took to reach that place of putting yourself first, or being able to be less insecure or judgmental about others.
I think, well, to start off, nobody's 100% secure. There's no way to reach 100% security in life. Even if somebody looks like they have 100% security. It's
Yeah.
like 360 the opposite, or I guess 180. But I think for me, just realizing that I don't have to like be anybody else was like the biggest realization for myself. I think in middle school I was always just trying to be like somebody else, or if I thought somebody had like good style, I would try to imitate them as much as possible to make myself into and to shape myself into a version of myself that I liked. But that just led to I don't know, me being even more secure because I knew that I was turning into a person that was like a copycat replica of just other people combined. So just like finding my own rhythm with things and my own style, and I don't know, the biggest thing for me with like insecurity was my hair. I hated my hair. I would like straighten it every single day, and then coming to high school and just realizing that it's like not that deep and nobody actually cares as much as you think they do, and then I started to wear it curly more. So yeah, just finding your own pace.
Yeah.
On like the same like tone, I guess, for me it was kind of similar. Like I was just like, I wasn't really changing myself to be like other people in middle school. Like I was just more insecure and didn't change anything about the way I was. I just kind of like was fully engulfed in like my insecurity that I wasn't reaching out to new friends. I wasn't surrounding myself with the right people just because I was so like consumed by this insecurity. And like a big thing for me in middle school, like obviously you're going through like puberty and stuff, and you're like growing up, you're changing, and I just like did not feel confident in my body. Like I was just very insecure about, like I had a lot of body image issues and things like that. So like growing into high school, like puberty obviously kind of ended. I got like a lot more secure in my body and like confident in myself, and like for me, I just kind of started surrounding myself with people that I felt like were uplifting me and not fully like letting me sit in that place of insecurity. Like if I were to talk about, oh, I feel really insecure about XYZ, they wouldn't just be like, oh, that sucks. They would like help me get out of that like little like place, you know? So I think that really helped me.
That's cool.
Pause.
That's cool, yeah.
That you just like, doesn't that take time to open up to someone about like you're insecure? Or was it, or the friends that you created or the friendships you created, people that just immediately got you?
I think just like, I mean, have always been a very open person about my problems. Like I'm not really ashamed about the things I've gone through and the way I've felt before, and I don't think that necessarily everyone who doesn't share with their friends is ashamed. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like the moment, because I came to Parker in 9th grade, I was very open with like the people that became my friends, like Katie and like kind of my group, and I just realized like when I started opening up to them, they started telling me that they had been through similar things and had felt similar ways. So I was able to just keep opening more and more up. Like I started on a very surface level, being like, oh, I felt insecure about my body, and then kind of going more and more into like the full story. And I was only able to do that because I heard that they had also been going through things like that. So I didn't feel like I was crazy for telling them this about me, or that all the spotlight was going on me, like just telling them this crazy story about myself. It was like a shared like bonding experience. Like we had all been through it. So I think that's like what gave me the courage to talk to them about it, and realize that they were really supportive because we just started talking about our experiences and how they were very similar for me.
I think what made me realize a lot of things about myself is like in talking to my parents, I learned a lot more about myself, and then also about them and their childhood and what they went through. And I think especially in middle school, like 8th grade to 9th grade, a lot of the problems I was having socially forced me kind of to open up to my mom a lot more. And so we developed a lot stronger of a relationship, and she could kind of give me advice based on what she experienced in high school and her college years, because we don't realize that like parents have gone through like all of that already. Like they have advice, they have mistakes that they made in the past. So I think my mom was definitely a safe space for me, and really someone like important to realizing my worth.
And also, wait, sorry, one more thing. Like, I'm not ashamed to admit, and like I kind of said this already, but I see like a therapist every week. that's something I just have been doing because I've had anxiety since I was like 9. I'm pretty sure that's when I started seeing a therapist, just because I've always been a more anxious person about like stupid things. Because the difference between like anxiety and stress is like stress, like you could be stressed about a test, but anxious, like being anxious and having anxiety is just being stressed about things and you don't know why. It's just the most random things, like something bad is going to happen to you, or if people hate you, things like that. So I had already been seeing a therapist, and I switched therapists during that middle school era, and I think that really helped me. Just I think having like obviously parents, friends is great, but having someone that's like so dedicated to helping you get better and feel the best about yourself, like that's a luxury that a lot of people sometimes take for granted or could like benefit from. And I know like there's a lot of programs online, and like I don't know, like insurance will cover it in a lot of cases. So like for me, like I'm not ashamed to admit that that was like a big thing for me in getting more confident in myself. And like I still see a therapist because like Katie said, you're always like evolving. Like you're never going to reach one place of like security and confidence where you don't feel insecure at all ever. Like that's definitely helped me a lot.
I was actually yesterday I had an appointment with my therapist, and I've kind of been doing like therapy intermittently like the past year, and I quit for like 4 months because like it costs money, and I thought it was like fine, but he was like, because I kind of have like an eating problem where like I have a hard time digesting things. It's like I just can't eat unhealthy food, or else it's like gonna make my digestion worse, or like my skin flare up, whatever it is. But I like really like donuts and ice cream, and like and every time I see people eating at school, like it doesn't like hit me in the moment, but like when I'm like feeling bored or tired or stressed or whatever it is, it's just like it gets to me. It's like I want to eat it too, like I want to be normal. And then he was like, I would recommend doing therapy like twice a week for a year, like you have an eating disorder, man. And I was like But and I was like, I don't know if my mom would want to pay for that. And he said like you should do it for like, if you don't want to do that, you can do it for like 6 months, like once a week. And it's like it's kind of like a big commitment. But I mean, you've been doing it since like for a really long time.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth it doing like every single week? Like what's the difference between like meeting a therapist for like a little bit versus like doing it consistently, like just like as a habit?
Well, for me, like there was a period I was seeing like a therapist every month because I was like once a month. I was doing a lot better. But I've realized that like when I was doing it on that basis, I was more of like a catch-up session. Like here's all the things that I've been feeling. These are like the things that have gone on in my life, and not really like a constant work on like getting better for me, at least. So I mean, I personally think seeing a therapist every week is really beneficial, but I also don't think that is like the only thing that can help. Like you could see a therapist like every day and probably never feel better about yourself or more like confident because you're not putting in that extra time like just on your own. I think that's really important as well. So I don't know, I think it differs for everyone, but like for me, like seeing a therapist every week, like I've still been very insecure at times when I have seen a therapist every week. Like that has not been the fix for me. Like I think it's just something that it's like a combination of things when you use them all together.
Do you have thoughts about therapy or?
I tried therapy for a little bit, but I think personally it's hard for me to just open up to someone that I don't know. I don't know, like I think it's either like your thing or it's not your thing, but it's just so hard for me to like spill all my life things with someone I don't know. But I guess you can also find comfort in that, on the contrary, with like, well, this person is not involved in your personal or your school life or your athletic life. Like they're really going to give you unbiased opinion and like what you actually need to be doing to improve.
Yeah, that's what it feels like for me, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think it was because of specific therapists that you tried, or because like you just don't think therapy is right for you?
I just think I'm really avoidant, and I'd rather, I don't know, I'd rather just deal with emotions on my own than have to like hash everything out. It's just like the type of person I am. But I usually end up just talking to my mom about things and my dad about things and my brother too.
That's cool.
Yeah. I guess each person has their own way of dealing with emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about drama at the beginning. I still don't know what exactly drama looks like. Like I don't know if it's something
complex.
Do you think it's a girl's thing, or is it like?
I don't think so.
Is it just everyone?
It's everyone.
I think it is a girl's thing. I think guys experience drama, but it's more like playful with them. It's more just like the way that guys kind of do things is that just like their friendships are kind of based on just like making fun of each other and forgetting about it the next minute. And with girls, I think it's a lot more of a sensitive thing because like Lexi said, like friendships are very open and like you share a lot of personal things with other girls that you're friends with. So when some kind of drama begins, you feel personally attacked, and it's hard to get over that without like, you know, fighting with other girls verbally, hopefully not physically, but you can talk.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like definitely both. From my experience, I've definitely seen more girls be involved in drama, but something I've noticed, just this is something we talked about in our history. I know, like machismo, toxic, like masculinity, things like that. Like I think a lot of guys will like conceal their feelings about their friends or situations because they don't think it's like masculine to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think girls have no problem talking about their problems, and that's why drama starts, you know? So like, I mean, I've seen like a fair share of guys who have like beef with other guys and they're just never going to talk about it. They're just going to be mad at each other and just like conceal it. And I'm like, I don't think that's the best way to go about it. But like, obviously drama is horrible and there's a way you can talk things out and solve problems without getting into drama. But for me, I just think drama is like always miscommunication. And that's why like it's really stupid, because it's just like this could have easily been avoided if we had just like, instead of waiting and letting me hear about it from someone else, or instead of like saying something that's not true, you just like talk to me directly, you know, like communicate your feelings. It's not weak, it's not stupid. It's just I think a lot of men would like benefit from hearing that, and girls too, because that's usually why drama starts. They just don't communicate well. Right. It's like not communicating at times for men. I mean, a lot of men do communicate. Just from my experience, I've seen a lot of guys conceal their emotions and not be open. But then like what girls will do is they'll just sometimes not like communicate it in the right way. So it's kind of bad in both senses, in my opinion.
Yeah. Or girls are just like a lot more passive with what they want to get done, and then guys are just like upfront, like they're not scared to just like go up and be like, I don't know, be mean to like the other guy who's saying something about them. But yeah, I agree with you that with girls it's like a lot more complex in that sense, that they aren't just 100% of the time going to be upfront and go to the problem and talk to them about it. Have you experienced boy drama? I don't know if
think
that's
so.
No?
I, like you were saying, like guys like conceal their emotions and stuff. I think that for me, like one part of my insecurity is I don't want people to think that I'm a bad person.
Of course.
And it's like the last thing I want to do is like make someone mad or think like I'm unethical or like not nice or unkind or just anything bad about myself. And so I haven't taken risks in like opening up or like being spontaneous as much over the past 4 years. And so I think that's why I haven't really like gone into problems with people, but at like I guess at the cost of like having deeper relationships with people. And I think I find it funny how like if you're going through drama, like that there has to be like some way that you were vulnerable to have like opened up about problems for that to happen, right?
Totally.
Yeah, that's why I think it's sometimes like more of a girl thing, like, oh, people will stereotype drama, like drama queen, or like girls are always in drama, because a lot of girls are open about the things that are making them mad or upsetting them, or I don't know, just like I understand what you're saying from like being scared that people would perceive you a certain way from opening up about how something makes you feel. But for me, like, what I've noticed is, like, slowly along the way, it's like if someone does something that made me feel sad or hurt me, like, I'll let them know right away, because then they're not going to keep making that mistake that they might not even know is hurting me or making me feel a certain way. So like, usually it doesn't even have to be like drama, and they would never think that like way about you, like oh, like they're mean, anything like that. Because if you open up to them, it like honestly kind of makes them feel better about themselves, because they're like, oh, Lexi feels super like comfortable and close with me, that she can talk to me about things that I'm doing subconsciously that are hurting her. Like, it really, I think it's kind of like a nice thing when people open up to you about things that are hurting them, because it means that they're really comfortable with you and really care about you and want the friendship to be as strong as it can be. So like, I totally understand that feeling. I've been there before, and that's sometimes why like I only feel comfortable opening up with certain people. Like, I'm not super duper open like at times, but yeah, I understand what you mean.
I do think drama is essential, like, in a way, to a school environment. Like, there's no way to really go about high school completely avoiding drama. And so I don't know, so you're saying you've never been in any conflicts all high school? maybe no, maybe that's just like, I don't know, like your nature is like you aren't problematic, but
I know like people that have problems with each other, or groups that have like issues with each other, but I think I get both sides, and I'm not really part of the conflict. I kind of like
neutral.
I feel neutral about it, and I kind of want to get involved. Like,
I mean, we could start some drama right now.
Start some drama.
Yeah. Last day of high school, just, get everything out.
Gotta burn all
burn all the bridges.
What, like, how bad can it, like, does it, because it's like petty or not, like it's not real, or do you like think it's real and like you get mad, or what is it, like, what is an example where it, like it's like got to you,
where like miscommunication wise?
Miscommunication wise, or anything that caused drama?
I think as a girl, it's very much based on like assumptions sometimes. Like, if you're in a group of friends and then you have the feeling, or like you just assume that somebody hates you, or they're like siding more with some other girl, that's where drama can kind of occur. And then that also like circles back to Lexi's point about miscommunication, is that, I mean, I agree that girls do like to share their emotions, but sometimes they don't, like men do. And I feel like that's where like girls and guys have some overlap, is like girls won't like 100% of the time share their emotions, and then they won't communicate with other girls or be upfront, and then all that assumption will just kind of build up and build up tension, and they won't actually ever talk about it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think I kind of get it.
It's kind of hard to explain it
without like outing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, it can also be stupid things that girls get into drama about.
I feel like usually it's super stupid, because if someone did something that really hurt me, I would probably either do one of two things. I'd distance myself, or I would talk to them about it. I probably would talk to them first if I was like, this is something that could totally be resolved. I'd just talk to them in a calm way, and if they didn't, like, if they weren't receptive to that, I would probably distance myself, and it didn't need to be drama. But usually when drama starts is if they're talking bad about the situation behind your back. Like, if you mentioned, oh, blah 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 thing you did to me hurt my feelings, and then they're like going to their other friends and being like, did you hear what Lexi said? It's so like terrible. And then that's kind of just where the drama starts, because like Katie said, it's like assumption, like assuming that that's something I said, or that's the intent that I had, things like that. Like, I don't think addressing problems has to be drama at all, and I just think the reason why it becomes drama is people aren't being completely truthful about the way things made them feel, or the actual like details of the problem to begin with. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
That, I think that makes more sense now. Do you guys want to talk about managing stress or is that not a relevant topic for you guys?
It's very relevant as juniors.
Okay. Where does your stress come from, and how do you manage it?
Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I can say a few things. We can rally back and forth. For me, stress comes from the possibility of things just going completely opposite from how I want them to go. I think a lot of times I have this notion of, oh, everything needs to be perfect, or I need to get this score on a test, or these grades this trimester. And I make that goal for myself. And when I'm veering off track from that goal, that's where the stress kicks in. And I do have a lot of anxiety as well as Lexi. So, and that just doesn't help at all, because I think anxiety and stress comes from not taking action. And that's what I have to remind myself a lot of the time, is that if I just do the things that I set out for myself to accomplish, I won't be stressed anymore. But I think that, stress is definitely a real problem, especially for girls, and especially for people who are just involved in a lot of things. And I'm the kind of person that wants to do everything. So it's hard for me to take a step back and be like, okay, well, maybe this will make me too stressed and I can't do too much of this thing. But in terms of managing it, like I said, just taking action and doing those things that, instead of just ruminating the stress in my mind, just doing it and getting it out of the way helps me a lot.
Yeah.
For me, similar to Katie, we're a lot alike. That's something we've noticed. I'm also a very big perfectionist. I have been for a while. That's part of my anxiety, is just feeling out of control because I don't think I can control it. I'm feeling out of control because I can't control everything. Exactly. I'll be oh, I just took a test, and then being so stressed after because there's nothing I can do about my score anymore. Or before, I'm I've studied, but there's nothing I can do more to ensure that I'll get XYZ grade. So I do stress a lot about school and being perfect, and then that kind of just ties into another thing I stress about. I stress a lot. It's just it sounds so stupid, and it really shouldn't matter. And I've definitely become a lot more confident at high school. But to be completely honest, I stress a lot about what other people think. And sometimes it's not even about the way I think, it's about the way other people will perceive something. If I say something, I'll stress after, something that could have been perceived as mean, or that I didn't care about them. I'll stress after, oh, are they going to feel a certain way because I hurt them? And then if I ask them about it, they're oh, that didn't even bother me. I'm stressing for no reason. It's literally just anxiety. So my stress is usually just anxiety. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Do
you need to answer that?
It's okay. I'll call her back later.
Is that Ryan Gosling?
Oh, Ryan Gosling, that's my mom.
Oh. My bad.
See, this is the person you're gonna start drama with.
Yeah,
no drama.
Mom need
my mom.
Fight at graduation.
No, it's a funny photo, but it's understandable. I love Ryan Gosling though.
Why would Ryan Gosling be calling you?
Ryan Gosling and I are very tight.
No, I would definitely put that out.
But no, she's just calling, asking about my day. Usually that's why she calls me at this time. But yeah, trying not to go on a spiral here, but I stress. I think my main stressors for me would be school, what people will think about certain things I do or say, and then body image. I think a lot of girls struggle with that. It's something I'm never gonna feel completely secure on, because I just think it's so ingrained into society. It's always changing. I feel very passionately about this because 10 years ago it was the body ideal was completely different than it is today. So no matter what I do, my body will never be exactly how society and the media wants it to be. So I always compare myself, and I'll feel very insecure, and I stress about that, I'd say on a weekly basis, probably. It's, I don't know, I think a lot of girls deal with that and won't admit it, or maybe they will admit it and just don't seek help. But
maybe it's also kind of an unspoken thing with girls, is just you kind of know that, or when another girl is struggling with it, but you also know, you can just tell. But sometimes a girl doesn't even have to say anything and you just automatically like click with her and have that emotional understanding that like, oh, okay, like I get you, it's okay. Yeah, like it is a body language. But that's definitely a big stressor in high school, especially when you think that all eyes are on you and everything that you do will be judged. Getting out of that headspace that is just like so small and tiny and negative is really difficult for me as well.
With body image, do you think it's an insecurity that comes from like what you think other people will perceive you as, like both men and women, or is it like just like you just looking at yourself and thinking like that this isn't good enough or this isn't right?
I think fear of judgment is really big, especially from other people who have seen like the body standard, whatever that's even supposed to mean, because like Lexi said, it's changing every single decade. Like you look at like the 80s and they had a completely different ideal of what they wanted women's body to look like. So just seeing even on like social media, or like if I scroll and I see a TikTok video of a woman's body and it's like perfect or something and like her prom dress, then I'm like, oh, if I don't look like that, then I will be judged by like men or women. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, I think that like your point about judgment is the biggest fear for a lot of women.
Yeah, for me it's probably like judgment. Like I judge myself. I mean, you said like judgment from others or judgment kind of from yourself, and I think it's both actually. Like that's probably like my answer to that question. Because like I think the reason I judge myself so harshly is because I think other people are judging. It's like a connected thing. Like I wouldn't probably judge myself as hard if I didn't think everyone else was judging, quote unquote, like me, you know? Like it's kind of like you can't have one without the other type of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think also a lot of things, like there's like a big joke, I feel like this kind of started in like middle school for a lot of people, but they would be like, oh my God, I'm so fat, if they were like eating a cupcake or like eating a big meal. And like I think then now it's kind of created like this norm that if you're eating like a lot, then you're like fat, and then it'll like people will start thinking that, and like it's like a joke obviously, and like it's not true like most of the time, but like it's just like so stupid. Like I don't know, I feel like people wouldn't be judging if like it wasn't like a norm to just keep talking about like the look of people's bodies. Like why did we have to mention that you look fat when you're eating like a cupcake? Like if that was never brought up, people probably wouldn't be thinking about it, especially guys.
And just like I won't give an example, but from what I've seen secondhandedly, like I think there's a fear with women not being perceived as like elegant, especially when they're eating. You know what I'm talking about, Lexi. It is a big fear because women, like, let's say they go on a first date with a guy, like they don't want to be seen as someone who's like ordering like a bunch of stuff. Like if you've ever watched White Chicks, and you know that scene where where she like orders like sauerkraut and like 5 plates, not a salad. Like I feel like that does apply to women a lot, because it's this ideal that you should be like very elegant and like small and like coquettish with like your movements, and when you don't fit that role like 100%, you feel automatically like unfeminine, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, and I feel like also there's kind of like with exercise too, like I feel like a lot of girls, I mean not a lot of girls, but girls in general, I think will like limit themselves to certain types of exercise or certain activities because they're scared of like looking like muscular, or scared of like sometimes like I don't know, I think like because of like norms, like girls don't want to be like bigger than guys in certain instances. And like some people won't say that they feel that way, but it's like just so ingrained in some that it's like hard to escape, I feel like. And like I don't agree with like a lot of the things I see online, like, oh, women should just do Pilates so they can be like thin and be small, and like I don't agree with that, but like I see it so much that I start to believe it, you know. And like obviously if I deleted TikTok and I deleted Instagram, like maybe this would be less of an issue, but like regardless it's gonna continue it's just going to keep being in the media in other forms. Like, there's no way you can block out all types of media of your life. And, like, I do think social media has a good impact in other ways, like connecting people. So it's just kind of hard to be like, oh, that's the main issue, the main problem. Because it's, like, been also a thing for so long, like body image, like, issues. Like, that was a thing before the media was, like, social media was even a thing. So I don't know. It's kind of like a complex thing because so many girls deal with it, and it's so many different variants for different girls. So I don't really know.
Do you think it might be evolutionary or biological to some degree? Like if you're saying that it was here like before there was media?
For sure. I mean, I think it kind of goes into like from the moment like humans were a thing, when there was like different roles for females versus like men, like hunter-gatherers. Like the men were doing like the strong, like going out and getting food type of thing, and women were staying with the kids and were being more gentle. And then that like translates into like, oh, if they're more gentle, they should look more gentle, they should look more delicate. And it's just like, I don't think that's the way it should be in times. And it's just like, I agree. I think it's been a thing for a really long time. And I don't know the steps our society needs to take to end it, because to some degree I think it's impossible to end.
And I don't know the extent that I can talk about this, but I feel like the same goes for males. Like if they aren't the ones that are like 24/7 going to the gym or like look super like muscular, I don't know like what the stereotype is for you guys, then I don't know, you'll be called like gay or like I don't know, it's just
or if you're like not tall, sometimes girls will like hate on guys. I feel like there's stereotypes no matter, I don't know.
Yeah, there are stereotypes like no matter who you are, and just like the stigma surrounding how you should look if you are a certain like sex is just it's very toxic in our society and our social media from what I've perceived. What about what you've perceived?
We've been talking a lot.
Yeah, this should be a conversation.
I think that I don't think I fully empathize or understand like a girl's perspective in what they have to deal with, like body image and like behavior, but I do feel like for me, I do think there's a certain desire on my part to like look masculine, to go to the gym, to be muscular. Like the reason why I don't like try to play basketball or like play soccer now for exercise is because like going to the gym, like that there's like an added benefit of like increasing your like muscularity or like aesthetic. I don't think the anxiety gets like, I don't think it's a lot of anxiety, but it's kind of like a low like humming thing for me.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen like the gym a lot more popularized, and especially like in social media, people just like making videos of themselves in the gym and posting it. I think as a way of like sharing workouts, but also feeling better about themselves and being like hey, look what I'm doing, like I'm going to the gym, I'm molding my body into like how I want it to be. And I agree with you.
Someone did call me, or I heard someone talking about whether or not I was gay in like sophomore year. It's like some friends, and like it was like a joke, I think, but I don't know.
No, but like nobody should be commenting on that, especially if they don't even know you as a person.
Yeah, and it was like, it made me feel like kind of awkward. I'm like, I don't want like now, like I don't want to like look like I'm gay. Like I gotta make my voice less like soft type stuff. And it's like
I know.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like that, because also like there's nothing wrong with being gay. Like why are we using that as like a like, oh, you look gay? Like it shouldn't like, why is that like a rude thing to say? Like it shouldn't be a rude thing to say. And like gay, you can like be gay and look a certain way, and it's not like a stereotype. Like there's so many different, like there's really masculine like gay people, but then there's also like not like same thing goes for straight people. I don't think it's like there's just a stereotype for it, and like it's inevitable, but also at the same time it's like toxic and it shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I find it interesting that like a lot of the things that guys get made fun of for are like the feminine qualities that they have. Like, I don't know if they do their skincare or like wear the color pink. I have no idea, but it's like those like things that women traditionally do that makes them get characterized or called gay in sophomore year. I don't know.
It's weird because like the same thing goes for like women. Like we were just talking about, like girls, I feel like will get picked on by guys or sometimes other girls, or will just feel insecure for themselves if they look masculine. Like I don't see like why they have to be so distinct at times. Like, and it's so bad to like be masculine if you're a girl and so bad to be feminine if you're a guy. Like it shouldn't be like that. Like I felt really insecure before because I don't feel like feminine enough. Like one time, personal anecdote here, I was like, there's this picture of me and I was like in a mirror. It was like a mirror photo, and for some reason I looked like really, really like jacked, like really strong, and like somebody posted it on like on social media, and like a lot of guys I knew like responded. They're like, Lexi looks like she benches 300, and I was like, and it was like in freshman year, and I was so insecure about that comment and like that photo because I was like, it shouldn't be bad that I look like I bench 300.
Probably jealous.
I mean, yeah, they probably were jealous, but like I was like so I looked really strong and I was like really insecure about it, and I was like, why should I be insecure about being strong? Like that can be something that can be for girls and guys, but like it's just automatically assumed that it's a masculine quality to be strong.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I just thought that's like a key example of the fact that like girls are sometimes afraid to be masculine and guys are afraid to be called feminine, and I don't think it needs to be so like
Cutthroat.
Yeah, harsh.
Yeah.
And like also girls will also like kind of shit on guys for also being feminine as well. Like girls will do it. Like I saw oops, I pressed a button. Does it still work?
Oh, let me check.
Sorry. I saw this
Yeah.
TikTok and it was like a guy and he was holding matcha, and all of the comments were like, bro, male manipulator right here. Like he's just holding the matcha because he thinks that this is gonna get the girls, and he's trying to be feminine because the girls will like it. I'm like, why did it ever have to be this deep? Like why can't guys like matcha too? I'm like,
Yeah, or the same goes for girls. Like if they're doing a sport that's like traditionally
Pick-me.
guys, yeah, they'll just be called a pick-me or like trying to be one of the guys. Like I don't know. It's just like, why does everything have to be such a distinct sphere? There can definitely be some overlap with like qualities and characteristics and like your endeavors in life and your hobbies.
and like also same goes for like girl guy friend groups. Like why do we automatically assume that like if there's a girl guy friend group they all like each other, like they can just be friends? It's like I don't see
Is that-
Getting off topic. The question was about stress.
Yeah, sorry. It's kind of like a therapy session here.
No, I like it.
Oh, I should probably answer this.
Okay, well, Lexi answers her mom, who is Ryan Gosling.
I swear the picture looked like Ryan Gosling.
No, that's funny.
Do you want to talk about like what you like to do or what you like hobbies and passions, or do you want to talk about dating and relationships?
Ooh, I think dating and relationships would be a little more interesting than my hobbies and passions.
Okay. How do you see dating and what's your perspective on dating, like right now being in high school?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I think I see a lot of like hookup culture. I think that's a big thing. And
Sorry, that was loud.
like at
Yeah.
Parker, I think it's pretty prevalent, but I also think in other public schools, like just actual relationships where the two people are like in a relationship for a long period of time just becoming less popular and more just like, I don't know, like jumping around to different people. Like I see a lot less commitment, and it might just be like person to person, but also as a generation, I just think that it's something that can be, I don't know if like glorified is the word, but like just
it's like
more popularized.
Yeah.
What do you see?
I don't really know too much about dating and relationships in high school, but I do agree, or like people have mentioned to me that people like think that hooking up is like, or just like having like quick relationships is kind of like not like a bad thing, or it's been normalized, like you said, popularized. I guess I don't know what, I'm curious like what you think relationships should be, or like what kind of relationship you want, if like as a high schooler, as a girl, and like how that differs from like everyone else.
Okay, I'm gonna have to think about this. Lexi can.
So like for me personally, I'm not gonna like go fully like personal here, just because like I don't know, I feel like you know what I mean. Like I don't know, I think like hookup culture is probably more prevalent just because of like social media, people sharing more about their lives, and like, oh, I'm going to college and I'm breaking up with my high school boyfriend because like gotta hook up with people in college. Like I feel like that's kind of like the narrative I see a lot online. And I don't fully agree with that. I mean, I don't disagree with it, that's not what I'm saying, but I don't know where I stand on this, because like I haven't really seen myself as like one end of like the spectrum, I guess, kind of like being like a big person who is really involved with like hookups, or like someone who's like always having a long-term boyfriend. Like I've had a boyfriend, and like I don't see one as inherently better than the other. Like I mean, I think if it's for the wrong reasons, if it's like a hookup, I think that can be pretty toxic, especially if like they're using the girl or the guy. It could be either way, for like their body or for like a social status type thing. I think that's pretty stupid and weird. But like to each their own. That's kind of where I stand on that type of thing. I think either like relationships and hookups kind of teach you a little bit more about what you value in a partner, and relationships in general, and what you value like in yourself, and what your values are, like what you're looking for in a partner. So I don't know. I don't really I'm not anti hookup culture, because I don't see it as inherently negative, but I think it can get negative if it's over abused. I think like most things. I don't know.
I agree. I think both aspects take on a different level of commitment and meaning, and I think that as long as either one is not toxic or like extensively harmful to one of the people in the relationships, or like Lexi said, like using people for hooking up with them for their body or whatever reason, then I think that people should just be able to make their own decisions with it, because it is like you are young, and like you're only gonna be like young once. So I guess like YOLO. YOLO, but also just like it's fine to like experiment and like see where like your interests take you, but it's obviously not something that you can just like abuse and like make people feel bad about themselves, because a lot of the time, from what I've seen in high school, people will enter a relationship and the other person won't want to get the same thing out of it that they are wanting to get out of it. Like if one person just wants like a quick thing with someone else, and then that other person wants an actual long-term relationship, that's where things get messy. So like circling back to the idea of communication too, like it's just important to communicate that in the beginning. But yeah,
I don't know, like I think there's a big stigma on like hookup culture. Like people are like, oh, like especially for girls, like if a girl hooks up with like more than one guy, if maybe it wasn't even toxic, I feel like they'll call her like a slut or like a whore or rude words. And like I mean, people have definitely started saying those things to guys too, maybe just because we're living in more of like a progressive era these days. But at the same time, I just don't think it's fair to be calling anyone that. And like I'm not advocating for myself, I'm not advocating for anyone else here like specifically, but I just don't think it's fair to call people a name for something if you don't even know the full story. Like you don't know, maybe she wasn't in the place where she wanted a full-term relationship, she didn't have the time, and maybe she was like, I don't know, I just don't think it's other people's business to be kind of like naming people and calling them a certain thing. It's like judging, and that's I think why people are so scared of people judging them, because it's not like an irrational fear. Like, people do judge a lot in high school. Like, teens judge a lot. It's like relentless. So I don't know.
Conversely, like for a guy, like if he gets with a lot of women, I think that it's not like entirely looked down upon. It's kind of like, oh, he's like collecting, like, I don't know, like
Good on
hookups,
him.
like good on him, like he
Yeah.
has play or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then like when a girl does it, it's just like, you're not being feminine, you're not being elegant, like you should be able to commit to something without like exploring different options.
There's a double standard.
There is a double standard entirely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it goes for like a lot of things too. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I'm not going to name personal like things and like certain examples, but like I think that there's a double standard in like society for like countless things, and I don't know, that was kind of
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I find that really
Like even in academics too.
Yeah.
Like just like, I don't know if it's like women should be the smart ones, or like if you're not smart as a woman, like you're not going anywhere in life. I see like definitely a big double standard with that. And at Parker, like I see that everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah. What is the meaning of life?
What is-
Let's talk about that.
What is the Are you guys religious in any way?
I'm not fully religious. I was raised like half Jewish, half Christian, kind of. My dad was like fully Jewish as a kid, and then my mom was fully Christian. And actually, technically, if you're Jewish and your dad is Jewish, you're not like fully Jewish if you're like half. Like, it's hard to explain, but like if your mom is the Jewish one, that means you're technically Jewish. But that's only in like really religious settings. So I still say I'm half Jewish because it's kind of like a cultural thing for me. But like religiously, I've never been super involved in a church or a synagogue or I don't know, anything like that. I've gone to like Jewish summer camp, and I actually applied to Cathedral. Like, it's not super religious.
Yeah.
There's like, they call them like cashews there, like Catholic Jews.
I didn't know that.
That's what I heard. But I chose Parker because I got in here. So I don't know. I feel like I would like to get more religious in the future. I think my parents just wanted to raise me without a religion to have me decide for myself, because my mom had kind of like a bad experience with the Catholic Church. Like, it was very strict for her, and my aunt, she's bi, and they were like very anti her. Like, I don't know, I'm not super religious, I don't know what their beliefs are, but they were not the nicest to her. So I don't think she wanted to raise me in a specific religion, which is nice, because now I kind of have those options open, and it's for me to explore.
I got baptized after I was born, and I haven't really had much other contact with the church since then. I would consider myself a Christian because I believe in Jesus, but I would consider myself more of a spiritual person than a religious person, meaning that like I believe in like aspects of like karma and dharma and like reincarnation and that kind of stuff, but that might be too complicated to get into. But I often find myself having like lengthy talks with my mom about this because she likes to attend a kind of like religious spiritual center, and she comes back and tells me about what she's learning. And so I'd say I'm less of like a follower of a religion and more just like someone who's open to learning about all of them.
That's really interesting. Do you have like, when you say you're spiritual, do you think it gives you comfort, or like how much do you go to it? Yeah.
Well, one of I think the misconceptions with spirituality is that like your fate is kind of destined, and like no matter what you do, things will end up the same way in life for you. But I don't think that's true. I think that everyone has the ability to change whatever trajectory of their life they wish, and like go their own way with things. But I do think it gives me like a sense of comfort knowing that, I don't know, in my belief that there's an afterlife. Like I don't think that after we die we just vanish off the face of the earth. I think that like our soul continues to live on. I might sound like some crazy like witch, but it's genuinely what I believe. Like I think that our bodies are just like vehicles for like our accomplishments in life. But I think that once our body dies, like another part of us keeps living on.
Mm-hmm. I mess with that.
Oh, nice.
It's really like
Thanks.
philosophical.
Well, spirituality is an aspect of Christianity. It's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But people don't focus a lot on the Holy Spirit. They just focus on the Father and the Son, God and Jesus. Yeah.
So does that mean that, do you guys have like defined meanings of life to you? Like how you live life or what you want out of life? Is there like ways that things that you prioritize or think are important?
Well, I don't think you can really define the meaning of life for one person because it's different for each person. Each person has their unique values and expectations of what they want their life to look like. So, I mean, if you ask me what the meaning of life is and you ask Lexi, like, we're going to give you like very stark responses, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or like even in other countries or other schools, I think the response will be very different. But for me, it's individualized. It's whatever you make it. It's living according to your values and your beliefs. And like even talking about like what we were talking about like an hour ago, like growing up as a middle school girl, and instead of living your life based on other people's styles and hair and nails or whatever, like you find your own rhythm to life and pursue it.
For me, something I've just kind of come to terms with, and like something like I've worked on a lot in therapy, is just like living according to my values. Like I say that a lot. And like, what do I value in other people? What do I value in like my peers? And like the one thing that I always will come back to, and like I think a lot of people would say this, is just like kindness, just genuine kindness. And like that sounds so like, oh, of course, like, you know, but like genuinely, like if I met like a really funny person or a really cool person or just like really attractive person, like ultimately that's not going to stick with me as much if I came into contact with someone who's just insanely nice, insanely kind, and just like a good human being. So like for me, like I know a lot of people they're like, what they'll tell themselves is just like they want to help as many people as they can, or like it's like change the world and things like that. But for me, I just think it's to be just as kind as I can, because I think like ultimately that will help a lot of people, because like whenever I've come into a really like kind person, it's just made my day and it's inspired me to be more kind to other people. Like I work this one job, and this is so like random, but I have this job and I'm kind of like a server at this like vegan restaurant. And I was like waiting like a table, and there were like these really, really nice people who were like being so nice to me. Like I gave them their food and they were like, thank you so much. This is like the best experience I've ever had. Like this food has been delicious. I hope you have a great day. Like they were being, and it didn't feel fake. It felt very real. And like anytime I've had those like interactions, it's literally been like the highlight of my day, highlight of my week. And like anytime I work there, I'm like, oh my God, there's really, really kind people out there. And that just inspired me to be like that more to other people, to keep inspiring. It's like a never ending cycle. So like I think a lot of other people's goals would come out of just being kind, like wanting to help people. Being kind helps and achieves that, like inspiring the world, doing good for the world, being kind. I always come back to that. And like it's kind of like a sense of comfort, because I don't really have like a big spiritual presence or religious presence. Is like if I die, and as long as I was just really kind to people, like I know people will remember me and care that like I made a difference, because they'll know like Lexi was a really kind person. And like I find comfort in like the fact that like sometimes I may not come across as like the coolest person with like the coolest style, like whoa, she's so like unique in that sense, or maybe not the funniest person. Some of my jokes don't always hit, but like I know that like if I like I know that if like I at least tell myself like I'm a very kind person, and I think a lot of people would remember that about me, and that's just like what I want them to remember me about. So that's kind of like for me the purpose of life, is just to be as kind as I can to everyone else around me in the most genuine way I can.
Do you think there's
this deep
yeah, do you think there's a fine line between, or not a fine line, just do you ever feel like you're being self-serving, or like being, or not like fully being kind because you are doing this for something, like for yourself in a way. Like I struggle with just like, I think it's something related to Christianity, like being Christian. Like I learned like you shouldn't be selfish. And then when I was trying to help other people, or thinking about helping other people, or like trying to be nice or kind, it would be like, are you being selfish because like you want them to like you, or you want them to think that you're a kind person, or you want them to think you're nice? Like, do you think that comes with it when you like are kind, or is it you acknowledge that it is self-serving in a way, but you know that other people will appreciate it?
I think it's like both. Yeah, I think it's both, because like I do think it's self-serving. Like I'm gonna put that like out there. Like when I'm kind to people, I feel way better about myself, and sometimes it gives me peace about. Sometimes if I feel really insecure, like, oh, I like no one like liked my joke. Like that's like a terrible example, but like I'm like, I know in myself that like when people would think about me, probably one of the first things that they would think about, what I hope at least, would be that Lexi's a kind person, and that makes me feel better about myself. But then it's also, like I said, going back to them, knowing that it'll affect them and help them to do the same for others. So like I think I'd be lying if I were saying that it wasn't a self-serving thing, because it does. I think that's fair, but I think it's both, and I think that's great. I think a lot of people sometimes also kind of attach being religious with being kind, like, oh, like I don't want to go to hell, like I'm gonna be kind, things like that. But I don't think that always has to be the narrative. Like I think you can be kind just for your own good, for feeling like good in yourself, feeling like doesn't need to be like to impress anyone or impress God in some instances. I don't know. I just think I always go back to being kind, and like sometimes I like have to check myself. I'm like, oh, what you said there wasn't kind, and like I'll try to adjust it. And like no one's perfect. Like I've definitely had a lot of instances where I haven't been kind, but I just always go back to like trying to shape my interactions with people and my relationships with people around kindness, and making sure that they can be helping them be kind to others as well, because it's like a double thing.
First I want to say that I think that life is like a series of exchanges. Like anything that you do, you want something out of with like whatever you're putting energy into. I like, for example, school is a series of exchanges. You hire a bunch of people who exchange their knowledge for money, and then you publicize the school, and you get students to come so they can exchange their time and money for knowledge. So I don't think that, like you said, like being kind or like self-serving, because obviously like education is like a very great thing for society. I don't think that it's like entirely self-serving, unless, like Lexi said, like you're like, oh, I need to be kind so that other people see me in this way, or so that I get this award or something like that. It makes me think of The Good Place. If you've ever watched the show, have you guys ever watched it?
I watched a few episodes.
Yeah.
And how people, if they like knew if there was like a heaven or a hell, they would act a certain way just so that they would get into like one of those places. I think that is obviously like a clear example of abusing kindness and like your rights in like life. But I think that in other senses, kindness is very constructive for society, and there's no downside in practicing it every day.
I want to ask you about family, because...
Can this be the last question? Because I do have to leave.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
I also have to leave like at 4:30.
Okay, great.
You said that we were in Dinoff, and I was like asking Dinoff about like I don't get my dad, and I think you said like I get my parents. Did you say that, or did you like agree? I think
that might have been me. What did I say?
I wasn't there, so
yeah, you weren't there.
I've been in class multiple times when you ask questions.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you. I'm pretty sure you said like you were with like friends or something. You said I get my parents, and I don't know. I think when it comes to maintaining family relationships and like just having like a good relationship with your siblings or your mom or your dad, how do you think you guys make a conscious effort to do that? Like, how does that happen?
I definitely do. I think I grew up on the principle that family is the most important aspect in life, and I stand by it and defend it, like, with all of my values and endeavors in life. And I think the reason I said that I get my parents is because I used to not really understand where they were coming from with a lot of the things that they wanted me to do in life, or why they put so much emphasis on school, and certain aspects that I didn't see the importance of at the time. But as I matured into high school and my adolescent years, I started to take on a new perspective, and it was literally just the perspective that they have their own values as for me, and their own expectations and aspirations for me as much as I have my own for myself. So I think a reason that I have such a good relationship with my parents is because I kind of find like a healthy balance of what they expect of me and what I want to do with my own life and my own autonomy, and how I take on like this idea of agency. I don't let them control every aspect of my life, and they understand that they let me have my own autonomy with the decisions I make, and my choices. And I also have to, find a medium ground and a compromise of, like, I understand why you don't want me to, I don't know, like, go out and party every weekend, but then they're like, oh, I understand why you would want to do that for, like, the social aspects. Yeah. So it really is just about seeing both sides, what my parents want for me and also what I want for myself, and finding that medium and just communicating that with them.
Yeah, for me, I think part of it is like me putting an effort to continuously be close to them. Like, I have this thing with my mom, like, especially when I used to like have her drive me home from school because I didn't drive. Like, we would do this like my play-by-play of like the day, of like how my day went, like what I did in each class, like how it went, if any like thing interesting happened. And she was just putting in that effort to talk to me, and I was putting in that effort to tell her about my day. And like, that sounds really stupid because like it's not that much effort to tell someone about your day. It's actually really nice of them to just listen. But I think it's like a double thing, like me putting in the effort to like continuously talk to her instead of just talking to like a friend or my therapist, because I do have a therapist. And then also I just think it's like a sense of luck. Like, I am incredibly grateful for like my family, and especially my mom. Like, she has been like my biggest supporter since like literally anything, and like I've told her literally about like everything in my life, because I just think I'm very lucky. And I think a lot of parents will try to be like the parent that they didn't have, kind of, in a sense, like give their children what they didn't have. And my grandma's amazing, I love her so much, but my grandma has had MS since she was like 30. Like, she's been very sick, and she can't walk great. She was always in and out of the hospitals and things like that. And like, my mom was the oldest child, so she was kind of neglected in a sense. So she was kind of caring after my middle aunt and then my youngest aunt, and she just didn't have someone to like talk to her a lot, and she struggled with a lot of the things I still struggle with, like body image and confidence and school and not feeling like enough, being a perfectionist. We're so much alike. So I think I'm just insanely lucky that instead of being like a generational trauma type of situation, which I know is kind of inevitable in some instances, she took what her experience and made sure that I didn't have that experience. He made sure that I had an even better experience than she had, which is like incredibly true. Like, in another sense, my parents like never traveled as kids, like ever. Like, my mom had only been in the country. Like, she had only been to like states surrounding, because she lived in Illinois, like Wisconsin, and like, I don't know, like my geography is really bad right now. But like my dad, same thing, like he hadn't seen snow till he was 26. And he lived in California his whole life. And my parents have made a really big effort to make sure I'm exposed to a lot of different cultures and travel the world. And I'm so grateful for that. Just like them being really selfless and giving me what they didn't get for themselves. And like, in no sense were my parents living in poverty. In no sense were they dealing with like the hardest things on planet Earth. That's not what I'm saying. I think you can always improve as a parent, giving your kids what you didn't have, and they've just done that. So for me, it's just like, I think a big element of luck. Like, I think I got really lucky with my family and how they are so dedicated to the family like concept and idea, and are just always there for me in certain elements, especially, and just my biggest supporters for sure. So I do think I've put in an effort to continuously be close to them, especially it's hard when you have a car, you're drifting away, like out on weekends and things like that. But like, I will make an effort to talk to my mom about everything, and I'll call her. I know I hung up on her while we were in the podcast, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's an element of luck for sure. Yeah. What about you?
I don't know if it's because my parents have, I don't know if it's like a language barrier where it's like it's hard to be like perfectly accurate with communication, because they're from China and their primary language is Chinese. But it's like, I definitely do get my parents, like they have they want things for me and they care about me and love me. But it's like the kind of relationship you want with a friend, like where it's like you're nice to them and you listen to them, and if they have problems, you're there to support them, kind of things. Like, I think the amount of stress they have and the amount of like expectations they have from me kind of overpowers that, and so it's hard to like have a conversation or talk to them without like it entering into an argument or just conflict about something.
A lecture, that always happens.
A lecture, yeah. I'm either lecturing my parents or my parents are lecturing me, and that's like,
oh my God. Yeah.
and it's like I don't want to do this, like, yeah, and I also have like, I think it's rough because I also have a little brother, and like I know like the mistakes they made with me as a parent, so like I'm like, don't do that with my brother, and then they're like, what do you mean? But it's hard for them too, because like being a parent, they have to do their jobs and stuff. So,
and like, not to veer off into a completely different topic, but that's like interesting that you mentioned that you were the oldest child, because I'm the youngest child, and I feel like I saw my brother go through like what you're kind of going through. He was like the guinea pig, and he had to experience a lot of the conflicts with my parents, over, I don't know, like screen time or how much he could play video games or if he could go out with his friends. And then when it gets to me, they've already been through all of that once. So
do you think they're better with you then?
Yeah, I think they definitely got the hang of parenting. I think it's one of those things where it's like the first child just, has to like test everything out and be the one who probably has less autonomy, and the youngest child gets a little more spoiled and just can benefit from the mistakes that the parents made and learned from their first child.
Yeah.
Something that's been like hard. So I'm like the oldest child, but like I'm not really ashamed of this, and I'm gonna admit, like, my body image issues got pretty bad in middle school, and it eventually did turn into an eating disorder, and that was something I dealt with for a really long time. And my parents have been like hyper cautious, because my sister is like the same age that I was when I developed my eating disorder. Like, I mean, I got my eating disorder, it started in 6th grade, and it kind of ended, I guess, in like the beginning of 9th grade for me. I like did a lot of therapy, a lot of treatment, things like that. So it's been really honestly hard for my family, because we're working really hard to make sure like it doesn't happen to my sister, because it's kind of like, I mean, it can be generational, like your chemistry, like makeup in your brain, like being more susceptible to eating disorders and anxiety, things like that. So like my parents have been taking a lot of steps to make sure it doesn't happen to my sister again, but I think that kind of is like stressful for them and for me, because it's like they've seen how it played out for me. They've like tested it out. They knew what worked, so it would just feel so bad if something like that happened to her again, like it did to me. So like in that sense about like the guinea pig mentality, like I was kind of the tester. Like they didn't know that this was going to happen to me, and now that they have helped me recover from that, like from that problem, like feels like I mean, what they've communicated to me, it feels like a lot of pressure to make sure that doesn't happen to my sister again. So like she's in therapy, like they're taking all the precautions because it's really terrible, and so many girls deal with it, and it can really hurt like you in a lot of different ways. So like as an older sibling, like it sucks sometimes being like the older one, and I can relate to you, like kind of testing the waters for your sibling. And I've always kind of wished I had an older sibling to like look up to and ask them like how things were, and like so I didn't have like the things that happened to me happen because they had already gone through them.
Yeah,
as selfish as it may seem. But I don't know.
Is that how you feel right now? Is like kind of unfair that your younger sibling is getting more of the autonomy that you didn't get growing up?
I don't think so, because my brother goes through a lot of shit too. So, but I do think he's a little better off. But I think the reason why I'm not exactly like resentful or any like or want something else is because being like an older brother, like by like a pretty large margin, he's 9 and I'm 18. It's like,
wow.
I've kind of had like, it's not like parenting, like actual parenting experience, but it's like practicing parenting, like, and kind of having experience there, and like learning to share, learning to like be patient, learning to do all those things that you probably eventually need to do as a parent. Like, I think it's given me a lot of perspective in that sense. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Is that it then?
That's it.
Wow, there should be a part 2. I feel like we could talk for another like 2
we
hours.
could, yeah. I didn't ask all the questions. I honestly like.
Wait, how many did you get through? Oh wow, that's a big list.
Probably, yeah.
We
I didn't actually like follow it much. Sure, if you want.
We can
read them later.
If you want to.
We can continue. Well, I guess he's graduating, but we won't be able to have another podcast.
Can we speed run one more?
Speed run.
How about if we answer it in like one sentence?
Like questions? These questions?
Yeah.
We'll do one question.
One
Just
run.
pick the most interesting one that you were like really eager to ask us, and we'll answer it in literally like. Okay,
I'll try to be as quick as I can.
Like
It's
under
really hard.
30 words. Under 30 words.
It's hard for me.
All these questions are kind of deep, so I don't know if like.
Okay, I mean, we don't have to. That was just
Yeah.
an idea.
One question is, do you have a filter? Like, is there value to being not blunt or not completely blunt?
That's yeah. We could give some examples. Yes, there is a value in having a filter, and it circles back to how you make other people feel, and just thinking about your intention, and not only your intention but how the audience is going to receive what you're saying. I think is very essential for maintaining good relationships in life.
Same. I think you should definitely have a filter in friendships. I think speaking your mind when it doesn't revolve around like other people and your relationships is fine, but when it directly results in like a negative outcome of like reaction from like a friend, I don't think you should be super blunt, unless in certain instances it's different, but most of the time definitely have a filter for like the sake of your friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I think I connected being honest to being blunt, which like you said, like you don't take into consideration other people, like how they react to it. So yeah, I agree.
And the balance.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to be on your podcast.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
excited.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate
Have a good
it.
day, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. You have your next
fans.
seniors coming.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.